Israeli Consul General Israel Bachar, what's the latest you can tell us about this absolutely heinous crime?
Well, this morning we get up to a very sad morning, of course, and what we're dealing with right now, it's unfortunately the logistic of moving the bodies of the two deceased to burial, one into Israel and Sarah to Kansas to be buried in her hometown. The consulate here in California and the embassy in Washington, of course, there is a cloud of sadness and empathy to the embassy in Washington. And we do know that the fight against these radical elements in the American society, it's not a fight that's going to end today or tomorrow. It's a long way to go. And we're adamant that we are going to have this fight and trying to win the hearts and minds of the American people to know that radicalism and anti-Zionism, it's not going to bring good, not to America, not to Israel, or to someone in the world. It's like the continuous anti-Zionism bashment with lies, blood libels that occurs online. It's a danger. It's not only an Israeli tragedy, it's also an American tragedy, because a lot of Americans do not know the real facts, the real truth, and what's going on there.
So this obviously hits close to home for you. You work in the consulate. This was in the embassy, near the embassy in Washington D.C. It's the same kind of general idea. So, what's the sentiments, the feelings of your staff, of yourself, when this is scary? This happened to someone in a very similar position to you.
Correct. First of all, of course, the workers are a little bit agitated and scary, and it's understandable because you don't expect to come to an event at night, which was a positive event. The event by itself, it was about how to bring more aid into Gaza. That was the discussion last night. It was a humanitarian discussion from a very positive a guided philosophy that people wants to push forward. But in the end of the day, they paid in their life for just coming for this kind of event. So the murderer basically targeted people who come to an event that's supposed to be aligned with his philosophy, with his cause to help Gaza. So we need to understand that we as diplomats and Jewish that goes to Jewish organizations and visiting Jewish organization can be a target. And it's very much unfortunate because in America you're not supposed to be targeted because of your job, because of your race, or because of your belief, or because of your origin. But when people become radicalized because what they are learning on social media about the Middle East and they start to believe in those ideas, then it's a danger. So I think it's about time here in America to draw the line between free speech and hate speech, and people need to know that when they are given the cloud of free speech to chants of globalized intifada, from the river to the sea, free Palestine, they're actually helping or perpetuating a hate speech and a call for violence against people who lives in America.
So to your point, at the scene of the crime, he basically was saying things like "Free Palestine," quote, "I did this for Gaza." What was your reaction when you heard the things that he was saying?
It's horrible because you're not supposed to use terrorism. If you wanted to promote a political cause, you're not supposed to go and kill for it. That's not the way to do it. For sure, not in Israel, in America, and nowhere. And actually, what exactly you need to free Palestine from what? The only thing you need to free Palestine from or Gaza from, it's from the Hamas terrorist organization, which is a genocidal, radical jihadist organization that controls the Palestinians themselves and brutalizes the Palestinians themselves. So the irony is the one that freed the Gazan people from tyranny, it's the state of Israel. And we are paying the price for it. And we are the one that were attacked on October 7th by this terrorist organization. And it's so unfortunate that people here in America, it's mostly the radical left, of course, some groups in the radical left, do not understand that in the name of humanity, they cause exactly the opposite. They cause and perpetuating atrocities by the Hamas, and that needs to be stopped. And I must give credit, in the last few months, there is a difference among American officials that understand that this cannot continue. So we see a fight from the administration against anti-Semitism in universities, in different campuses. And Leo Torrell is doing a terrific job of fighting anti-Semitism, is really on top of it. And that's what it should be. But it's not only anti-Semitism, there is also the issue of anti-Zionism.
Well, I didn't prepare you for this question, but you kind of mentioned it real fast. Do you think anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism?
Definitely, that's their new patent. It's to say, well, we're not against the Jews. They were just thinking that Israel is not supposed to exist. Well, you cannot differentiate the two. There's no Zionism without Judaism that goes together. Zion is about Judaism. It's not about something else. That's the whole about of Zionism. It's comes from the word Zion. So you cannot separate the two. The connection of the Jews to the land of Israel, it cannot be separated. That's the whole idea of the Zionistic movement, to go back to the land of Israel. Even though that actually we never left completely the land of Israel. All the time there was community living in Israel. So anti-Zionism is being used on a daily basis. And unfortunately, the radical left, groups in the radical left, are endangering not only Israel, but they're endangering the American society. Because today they are using it against us. Tomorrow they're going to use the same tactics against other nations or other groups in the American society. So we need to draw the line, and the American administration, of course, I believe is going to draw the line between a free speech and a hate speech, and people need to start to take advantage of this beautiful free speech that you have in America.
Well, let me ask you one final question, my friend. I know you are very busy. The images that a lot of folks are seeing right now is the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Obviously, the UK took pretty drastic steps recently. So people are trying to understand what's true. There was the report that, 14,000 babies would die in 48 hours. Obviously, they've retracted that statement. So there's just a lot of confusion as to what's happening in Gaza. What do you want a Western, really a global audience to know about Israel's war against Hamas?
Okay, let's start with the facts. There is not one single Gazan baby or an adult that died because of starvation. There's not even one case. There is none. So the reports that you just mentioned is completely false and fabricated. And that's what we're dealing with since October 7th, with continuous false news, continuous false reports about what Israel is doing in Gaza, which has nothing to do with the reality. There is food in Gaza. We are letting food get into Gaza, but what we don't see that the Hamas or the Gazan people are releasing our hostages from Gaza. So on the one hand, everybody asking Israel to be extremely human and supply food, water, medications to the Gazan people, while at the same time, they're launching rockets in Israel. Just 2 days ago, there were rockets from Gaza to Israel, and they're holding hostages in the tunnels in Gaza, and until recently, also American citizens in Gaza. So, if you want to fight terrorism, you need to draw the line where you're supposed to help the society or when you're supposed to start to fight and win against this campaign. But Israel, everybody knows that, the administration knows that, do not starve no one in Gaza. All what we're trying to do is to bring back our hostages and to win against this genocidal terrorist organization, Hamas, who are actually is the organization that represents the Palestinian people right now.
Israel Bachar, thank you for your time.
Thank you.